Welcome to the Digital Intellect, bringing you the latest news from around the world. July 11, 2025. A date that will be etched into the memory of every American. As the first rays of sunlight break over the horizon, the nation stirs, unaware that a seismic shift is about to upend daily life. America wakes to a shock. Amazon, the retail giant that transformed how the country shops, works, and lives, is leaving the US market. Not scaling back, not restructuring, leaving completely and without warning. The company points to the Trump administration's unprecedented 145% tariffs on Chinese imports as the final straw, a move that made its business model unsustainable overnight. Years of political tension and trade wars have finally boiled over. No more blue and white vans weaving through neighborhoods, no more familiar hum of delivery trucks on suburban streets. The digital marketplace that supported millions of small businesses has vanished. Lawmakers are scrambling for answers, markets are in free fall, and citizens are left reeling, struggling to comprehend the scale of the loss. For decades, Amazon wasn't just a retailer, it was a thread woven into the fabric of American life. From last-minute gifts to daily essentials, it shaped routines, powered local economies, and connected families across the country. Its sudden exit sends a chilling message to global corporations. The risks of operating in today's volatile US political climate are real, and even the mightiest can fall. This isn't just about tariffs or trade policy, it's about the unraveling of the globalized world America once championed, a world where borders seemed to matter less and opportunity was boundless. The New York Stock Exchange halts Amazon trading as shares plummet to historic lows. Investors watch in disbelief as decades of growth evaporate in hours. Across the country, 1.5 million jobs hang in the balance, warehouse workers, drivers, engineers, and office staff, all facing an uncertain future. A $13 billion supply chain meltdown is just the beginning. From groceries to electronics, shortages ripple through the economy, exposing just how deeply Amazon was embedded in American life. The titan of e-commerce is gone. In its place, America faces an uncertain historic void, one that will reshape the nation's economy, its communities, and its sense of what's possible in a world suddenly changed. To understand this crisis, we must revisit Amazon's rise and its deep ties to China. Amazon started as a humble bookstore in 1994, but quickly became the everything store, promising cheap, fast delivery. Its logistical empire created hundreds of thousands of US jobs, but the real engine was China's manufacturing might. Most products on Amazon's shelves came from Chinese factories, enabling low prices and vast selection. This dependence fueled Amazon's dominance, but also made it vulnerable to political shifts. Trade tensions, especially under President Trump, put Amazon's business model in the crosshairs. The 2024 election reignited the trade war, setting up a collision between protectionism and globalization. The fates of Amazon, America, and China were always intertwined. Now, they're unraveling. In a move that stunned both Wall Street and Main Street, the American Economic Sovereignty Act was signed into law just last month. This sweeping legislation imposed a staggering 145% tariff on all Chinese imports, instantly rewriting the rules of global trade for American businesses. For Amazon, a company whose entire business model is built on razor-thin margins and the relentless movement of high volumes of goods, this tariff was nothing short of catastrophic. The company's vast logistics network, optimized for efficiency and cost, suddenly became a liability overnight. Consider this. A simple $10 item sourced from China now costs $24.50 before even factoring in shipping or additional fees. For millions of everyday products, the math simply didn't work. Neither Amazon nor its sellers could absorb such a massive increase, and passing it on to consumers would have made these products unaffordable for most Americans. CEO Andy Jassy, facing the impossible, called the shutdown of Amazon's US retail operations inevitable. In his words, the very foundation of their business had been rendered illegal overnight, leaving no viable path forward. Over the next 6 months, Amazon will gradually wind down its US retail operations, a process that will impact thousands of employees and countless third-party sellers. Only its cloud computing powerhouse AWS will remain, a stark reminder of what once was. Never in history has a company of Amazon's scale and influence simply abandoned its home market. The sight of empty parking lots and shuttered offices is a sobering symbol of this unprecedented retreat. The administration's protectionist ambitions meant to shield American industry have instead collided with the harsh realities of global commerce. The result? Widespread economic chaos, confusion in Congress, and a ripple effect across international supply chains. The tariff, intended as a protective measure, has instead crippled a vital artery of American business. Warehouses stand empty, and the hum of commerce has ground to a halt. Amazon's dramatic exit serves as a stark warning. Global supply chains, built over decades, cannot simply be unwound by government decree. The consequences are far-reaching and immediate. The company's departure marks a turning point for American capitalism, shaking investor confidence and raising urgent questions about the future of U.S. business in a protectionist world. The camel's back is broken, and with it, the status quo. America's economic landscape may never look the same again. The fallout was instant and brutal. Amazon stock crashed over 60% before the bell. The Nasdaq halted trading to prevent a meltdown. The Dow and S&P 500 plunged, triggering circuit breakers not seen since the COVID-19 crisis. Shipping giants like UPS and FedEx tanked, and even Walmart and Target saw their stocks fall amid panic. Commercial real estate faces a glut as Amazon's warehouses go dark. Small businesses selling on Amazon are scrambling to retrieve inventory and find new sales channels. The White House was blindsided, and competitors are in emergency meetings. The day Amazon announced its exit shattered the illusion of economic stability in America. Beyond Wall Street, the real pain is local. Over 1.5 million jobs, warehouse workers, drivers, office staff, are on the chopping block. In towns like Kenosha, Amazon was a lifeline. Now, it's a looming ghost. Workers face lost paychecks, lost health insurance, and uncertain futures. 2 million third-party sellers, from artisans to entrepreneurs, built their livelihoods on Amazon's platform. Many will not survive the transition to new fragmented sales channels. Local economies will suffer. Diners, gas stations, and tax bases will shrink as jobs vanish. The housing market in Amazon towns could collapse as families are forced to move. The social fabric is fraying. This is more than an economic event, it's a social crisis. Communities are left to pick up the pieces, with little guidance or support. The human cost of Amazon's exit will echo for years. Amazon's exit is a tsunami for the U.S. supply chain. The company's logistics network was the backbone of American e-commerce. Now, carriers like UPS and the Postal Service face a capacity crunch they can't absorb. Shipping delays and higher costs are inevitable. Fast free delivery is over. Brick-and-mortar stores, once outmatched, are unprepared for the sudden shift. Retailers must scramble to build e-commerce and logistics, all while facing the same tariffs. Globally, suppliers from China to Southeast Asia lose access to the U.S. market, triggering factory closures and job losses abroad. The global supply chain, built over decades, is unraveling, and no one knows what comes next. Economists and analysts are stunned. The news has sent shockwaves through boardrooms and trading floors across the globe. Financial experts who have spent decades studying market cycles say they've never seen anything quite like this. The suddenness and scale of the event have left even the most seasoned professionals scrambling for answers. Dr. Anjali Sharma, a leading voice in global economics, calls this the most significant deglobalization event of our lifetime. She explains that the ripple effects will reach far beyond the U.S., impacting economies and supply chains worldwide. According to Dr. Sharma, the interconnectedness of today's markets means no country will be left untouched. The U.S. is now severed from the global supply chain, facing inflation, fewer choices, and a likely recession. Everyday Americans are already feeling the pinch. Prices are rising, and once abundant products are disappearing from shelves. The economic uncertainty is palpable, with families and businesses alike bracing for what comes next. Mark Chen of Brookings says the administration miscalculated. Amazon wasn't bluffing. He points out that policymakers underestimated the company's leverage and the fragility of the digital economy. This is a wake-up call, Chen warns, about the risks of over-reliance on a single corporate giant. The political fallout will be massive. Millions of jobs lost, and America's tech crown jewel gone. Communities that depended on Amazon for employment and commerce are now facing an uncertain future. The shock is being felt from Silicon Valley to small-town America. Retail consultant Sarah Peterson warns of chaos, empty shelves, higher prices, and a return to pre-internet inconvenience. She predicts that consumers will have to adjust to longer wait times, fewer options, and a level of scarcity not seen in decades. Smaller retailers can't fill the void, and giants like Walmart will struggle under tariffs. The entire retail landscape is being reshaped, with businesses large and small forced to rethink their strategies and supply chains. The world is watching the US with new skepticism. Political risk is now as high as in developing nations. International investors are re-evaluating their exposure, and allies are questioning America's reliability as a trading partner. Companies will accelerate friendshoring, moving supply chains to allied countries, but this is slow and costly. The transition will require massive investments, and many businesses may not survive the upheaval. The American market, once the world's most stable, now looks volatile and unpredictable. Investors are bracing for wild swings, and confidence in US leadership is at a historic low. The rules of global business have changed overnight. Executives are holding emergency meetings, trying to chart a path forward in a landscape that looks nothing like it did just days ago. The consequences will be felt for years. As the dust settles, experts agree, this is not just a temporary disruption, but the beginning of a new era in global economics. With Amazon gone, American retail is fractured and regionalized. Walmart and Target will grab market share, but higher prices are inevitable. Specialized online retailers may rise, focusing on niche categories and expertise. Local stores could see a renaissance as convenience shifts back to Main Street. Online shopping will become fragmented. Consumers must hunt across multiple sites for deals. New tech companies may emerge to help shoppers navigate this complexity. Social media could become a key commerce hub as brands go direct to consumer. But this new landscape means higher costs, fewer choices, and greater inequality, especially for rural Americans. The digital divide will widen, and shopping will be harder and more expensive for many. America stands at a crossroads, forced to confront the cost of economic nationalism. The immediate challenge: support millions of displaced workers and their families. The deeper challenge: rebuild supply chains and restore global confidence in the US market. The era of easy slogans is over. Now comes the hard work of reckoning with globalization's realities. The choices made now will shape the next generation of American life. Will this be a painful pivot to something new, or the start of a long decline? The future is unwritten, and the responsibility to choose wisely rests with us all.